Hi guys. I'm gonna read Fantastic Four number 15. So let none of the Fantastic Four leave alive. The Thinker commands it. So featuring the Mad Thinker and his awesome android. He's turning our own weapons against us. We haven't a chance. Not only is the Mad Thinker taking over the Fantastic Four's headquarters, but he's beating them at their own game. Just wait, sooner or later, I'll get my mitts on you. Just wait. So the Fantastic Four battle the Mad Thinker and his awesome android. A book-length saga. The android, neither animal nor vegetable nor mineral. What is it? Script Stanley, art Jack Kirby, inking Dick Ayers, slate lettering Art Simic. And now read on. And just to remind you guys, I'm still sick. So, yeah, I don't know, I might blow my nose or something. But you are now experiencing one of the most exciting moments in magazine reading, the start of an all-new Fantastic Four adventure. This is New York, home of the famous Baxter Building, which houses the Fantastic Four's skyscraper headquarters. Suddenly, a lean, powerful hand fires a bright flare into the evening sky, and our adventure into fantasy begins. Look, the red alert signal of Fantastic Four. Not far away, in a quiet lane of Central Park, we find a teenager and his date. Of course I'm angry, Johnny. Do you know how many dates you've broken with me? Oh, Peggy, you know I couldn't help it. But I'm here now, and there's a moon above, and you sure look gorgeous. Oh, Johnny, how I've longed for this wonderful moment. Great balls of fire, at a time like this. Sorry, Peg, I have to leave you for a while. Hope you can drive. Flame on! Oh no, not again. And at a Chi beauty parlor on Fifth Avenue. I just know I've seen that girl somewhere. Ah, Miss Storm, now for the supreme moment. I personally shall create your new hairdo. I have cancelled all other appointments so I can devote myself entirely to you today. Read signal. It means come a-running no matter what. Wait, you can't do this to me. I shall destroy myself. You and me both, Pierre. I waited months for our appointment. Better turn invisible. I can't run through the streets with curlers in my hair. And what of the gentle, good-natured, peace-loving member of the Fantastic Four? Ah, here he is, and lovable as shy as ever. Send me a picture like this, will they? When I get through with that crummy Yancey Street gang, it'll take a blotter to mop 'em up. So the thing is a sissy. Yancey Street gang. Look, there's the thing. So the ugly lump got our love letter. Yoo-hoo, pretty boy, here we are. We're waiting for you, fathead. It's them on the roof. Go away, you creeps. I'll toss you a little bouquet. Cripes, just when the party just was getting started. We knew it. He was scared of us. Where you going, thing? Home to get help? Did a nice little thing forget to bring his nursemaids? Ha ha. So help me, one of these days. Minutes later, at the Fantastic Four's ready room. Come in, Ben. We've been waiting for you. Reed didn't want to explain until we were all together. Well, now, ain't that real neighborly of him? Okay, now, what's this all about, Reed? Looks to me, like Rubberface just likes to shoot his little flare gun. Why don't you just take up a new hobby, like playing in traffic? Yeah, why the red alert? Doesn't look like an emergency to me. Suppose you both button up for a while and give me a chance to explain. I didn't want to interrupt what I was doing any more than you did. I'm right in the middle of a crucial experiment with DNA, the basic cells which are the building blocks of life itself. I've already managed to create a primitive form of one-cell life which lives for a few seconds. Do you feel like I'm stopping now? But I received an urgent call from the chief of police. His department reports that top mobsters and gang leaders from all over the country are flocking to New York. There's something big in the wind, and he wants us alerted. And even as Mr. Fantastic speaks, It's exactly 12:42 p.m. They should be entering in 1.5 seconds. 1.5 seconds later. Okay, thinker, here we are. Start the ball rolling. It ain't healthy for us to be together under one roof. And no funny stuff, see? We got boys posted all around this joint. Quiet, got you guys. Thinker is thinking. These are my thoughts. I have summoned you to help me form a gigantic kingdom of crime, with me as the king. For with my fabulous brain and my infallible computing machines, I can outplan the law at every turn. Until this moment, the police have not even dreamt of my existence, but I shall remain hidden no longer. With you, the most powerful gang leaders of all, I shall devise a foolproof plan to capture and take control of New York City itself. I will proclaim New York an independent nation, with me as its ruler, and you shall be my crime enforcement officers. My plan cannot fail, for I have worked it out to the last detail on my computing machines. I shall even appoint ambassadors to other American cities. Will sign treaties with the rest of America and negotiate trade and foreign aid pacts. These are the tinker's terms. You better accept them if you don't want a war on your hands. It sounds interesting, thinker, but you forgot one little detail. You don't suppose the Fantastic Four be twiddling their thumbs while this is all going on? The thinker forgets nothing. Yeah, well, if anyone could boot you from under that crown, you're counting on Mr. Fantastic's the guy to do it. Nobody's ever beaten him yet. And then there's the Human Torch. No matter how smart you are, he'll find some way to give you the hottest throw in history. I wouldn't want to mess around with him. And even if you put them into action, don't forget the Invisible Girl. What's to stop her from sneaking up on you at any time, unseen, and taking you by surprise? The way I see it, you'll be lucky if you're caught by one of them, because I figure it'll be a lot better than letting the thing get his paws on you. Silence, you intellectual pygmies. Don't you think that I've already planned how to get rid of the Fantastic Four out of the way? I never overlook any detail. Look at these banks of computers, the greatest array of thinking machines ever assembled under one roof, and all for one purpose, to make me the king of crime. My machines and I have already devised a foolproof plan, not only to arrest the Fantastic Four, but also to take over their headquarters, with all its priceless secrets. My master plan has been worked out to the last-minute detail. Nothing has been left to chance. With the aid of my calculators, I know everything that has happened, and most importantly of all, I can predict everything that ever will happen, down to the last split second. So weather, wind velocity, tidal, pulse, sunspots. Fact obvious, fact remote, fact incidental, observations, possibilities, probabilities. So don't you remember that $1 million bank haul I pulled last year? It succeeded because I knew a hot dog vendor who passed by at just the right split second. Don't shoot, boys. We're liable to hit that guy with the push cart. And remember the time I escaped a pursuing patrol car because a water main burst just as I was driven by? Well, I knew it was about to burst in that moment. It was a part of my plan. Roar. Just as it was a part of my plan to know that an organ grinder's monkey would accidentally set a fire to a deserted shack, thus burning some valuable papers which contain enough evidence to send me to jail for years. That is why I am the thinker. Yeah, well, you may be showing these other jokers, but I ain't buying it. I'm cutting out. Naturally, I knew you would. Nuts, you're just a lot of talk. Anytime something happens, you say you expected it. You're just a phony, Mac. Am I? In exactly 18 seconds, you will realize how wrong you were. Now get out. Now, exactly 18 seconds later, well, if it isn't Blackie Scar, how nice of you to walk right into us this way. The feds, I'm trapped. The thinker knew this would happen. Those machines of his really work. What a chump I was. I trust, gentlemen, observed You gentlemen observe what has transpired below, and right to the second, just as you said. Looks like you really are all that you claim to be, Thinker. Okay, Thinker, we're with you all the way. But how are you going to handle the Fantastic Four? I've been working on that project for months. Watch. Each member of the Fantastic Four is a separate and distinct problem, and I fed my computers all the available data about them. After careful analysis, my machines and I have come up with these solutions. Problem 1, Human Torch. I have arranged for 2 men to arrive in New York at this very moment. According to my calculations, they will do one job for us. Mighty big town, ain't it, Shorty? You said it, Bones. There he is now, right on time. Hi, Cousin Johnny. Cousin Bones, welcome to New York. Man, he sure is a corker, isn't he? Look at him flame around up there. Flame off! I got your telegram. What's the trouble, cousin? It's my circus, Cousin Johnny. All of a sudden, business has dropped off. I need me a real star to get attraction, to get the crowds back again, or else I'll lose everything. I was wondering about you, Johnny. Gosh, a chance to be a circus star. If only I could. Problem 2, Mr. Fantastic. At the executive offices of General Electronics Limited. Gentlemen, we need a scientific genius to head our electronic research division. Whom do you suggest? Beats me, Roger. Top research specialists don't just go on trees. I can't think of a man in the field who's big enough for the job. At that moment, as though prearranged by fate, a janitor carelessly lays a copy of a magazine he had been reading on a massive oak desk. Well, keep working on it, gentlemen. We must find the right man for the job, and soon. I'll just leave this here for a few minutes while I mop up the hall. Then, just as the Thinker knew it would, the brightly colored catches the industrialist's eye, and Cartwright, Van Dorn, come here. I found the man we're looking for. In the Fantastic Four comic magazine. What do you mean, Roger? Of course, we should have thought about it before. Reed Richards, the most gifted inventive genius of all time. We'll send for him immediately. Problem 3, The Thing. In a local gym, a shifty-eyed wrestling manager makes Ben Grimm a tempting offer. I tell you, Thing, if you sign up with me, we can make a fortune. You'll be one of wrestling's biggest wrestling attraction since Strangler Lewis. Yeah, I know. It sounds good, but I got other things to do. That's so. Could be that you're afraid to meet Fatal Finnegan, the idol of the Yancey Street gang? Me afraid? I don't like that kind of talk, Squirt. Now just you wait there till I get back. I gotta talk this over with my partners. Sure thing. I'll hang around. Problem 4, The Invisible Girl. At the entrance to a local orphanage, where Sue Storm has just entertained the children. Blast it, Higgins. I'm a half hour late for her rehearsal. How do we wind up in this out-of-the-way neighborhood? I don't know, sir. It's as though someone deliberately put up detour signs all over the city. Shall I call the theater and tell them to hold up until the auditions until... Hang the auditions. I found the girl I'm looking for to star in my new show. I must hire her, at any cost. Later that day at their headquarters, 3 restless, thoughtful people wait for the 4th to arrive. I don't want to bust up the team, but it sure would be a kick to pulverize Fatal Finnegan in a wrestling match. A chance to star in a Broadway show. How can I turn it down? I bet most any kid in the world would jump at the chance to join a circus. And Cousin Bones really needs me to help him get back on his feet. He says it's almost as though someone has been planning for a show to fail, because he says a dozen serious accidents lately. Anyhow, things are slow around here lately, and it sure would be a gas to meet all those cool circus chicks. I bet I could be a one-man show with all these tricks I thought up. Hey, Brett, stop smoking up the joint, will you? Go fry at your hat, big mouth. Look out! There, that does it. I'm gonna douse that flame of yours and then... Thing, torch, knock it off. Heck, Free, this is the most fun anyone's had around here for days. Let's face it, pal. Johnny's right. We ain't cut out for twiddling our thumbs. We're all getting restless. Yes, perhaps we all need a vacation. I was about to say the same thing. Maybe a temporary separation would do us all some good. That's the coolest. What about those mobsters hitting New York and the trouble we're supposed to be watching for? We can always return to home base in a hurry. I can be reached at General Electronics in New England. Me, I'll be traveling through the South with the Bones and Bailey Circus. You read about me in the papers. I'm going to be the next sensation of the grunt and groan circuit in the Midwest. And I'll be in Hollywood, rehearsing for my very first starring role. Sigh. And so unsuspected by the Fantastic Four, all the tiny details of the Thinker's master plan fall neatly into place. He has won the first round of a fight which the colorful quartet doesn't even know it is fighting. You know something? This is the first time we ever busted up. It's a spooky feeling. You're right, Ben. We can get together again after a while. At last I can always dress the way I've always wanted to. Never thought I'd say this, small fry, but I'm gonna miss you. Sure, you big lug. Nobody else would put up with you. Take care of yourself, big fella. For 2 cents I'd try to get him to call off the whole thing. Nuts. What's the matter with me? It ain't the end of the world. Everybody needs a vacation sometime. And now back to the man whose meticulous planning has brought about the events you have just witnessed. Back to the Thinker. It is now exactly 3 minutes after 4. They should be leaving their headquarters at this moment. Okay, Thinker. Let's say they are. So what good does that do us? Yeah, what's our next move? How do we take over the city? The very forces of nature herself will help us. My machines have calculated the course of an approaching meteor, which will strike New York Harbor in exactly 15 seconds. I knew of this impending event weeks ago, and included it in my plans. It will be our signal to strike. At precise split second predicted by the Thinker, a hurtling meteor does indeed plummet into the waters outside New York's lower bay. Although no one is injured, the shock of the impact causes a temporary panic among the populace. What happened? What was that? Maybe we're being attacked. It must be war. Minutes later, as the shock wears off, the truth is learned and the panic ends, but a new danger appears. The violent earth tremor has knocked out all electrical power in the sprawling city and caused numerous small fires and explosions. Wow, one little meteorite did all that. Look, all the streetlights have gone out, and there are flames in Central Park. It'll take hours to get things back to normal in Midtown New York. And taking advantage of the confusion, the Thinker and his men invade the now deserted stronghold of the Fantastic Four. You were right, Thinker. With the electricity knocked out, none of Mr. Fantastic's protective devices are working. This is the only time his headquarters can be broken into, and due to my foolproof planning, we'll be able to cash in on it. And what a vast treasure trove of science this is, and all its secrets shall now be mine. This is even better than I expected. Here are Mr. Fantastic's notes concerning his work with the DNA, the building blocks of life itself. Using this information, I should be able to create a new form of life, one which will serve only the Thinker. But let us take our leave of the Thinker for a while and view a scene which takes place days later in the northern part of Florida. It's amazing. Ever since the Torch has been the star of our circus, we played to capacity crowds at every show. Yay, look at that. And now for his final act, the Fantastic Human Torch will perform every known circus stunt at the same time. The Torch can do anything. More. But as the final performance of the day is ended, in the solitude of his room, Johnny Storm begins to brood. I never realized how empty the sound of applause can be. Same old act day after day. I can't take much more of it. I wonder how the others are doing now. And as for the others, our scene now shifts to a movie location on the West Coast. Okay, Miss Storm, this is your final take. Remember, you're the first female in space, lost on an unknown planet. Roll 'em. More schmaltz, baby. Give 'em more emotion. Come on, look scared. And I always thought acting would be fun. What a fool I was. Look out, that prop monster's foot is shaking. Too much wheels coming loose. We'll have to shoot it over again. Cut. One in New England electronics lab. Say, what's going on here, Richards? Forgive me if my methods are a little unorthodox. I like to examine my apparatus from the inside, as well as the outside. We'll need this much more clearance on all future devices, according to my estimates. Do you have to emphasize your points so dramatically, Richards? This is a laboratory, not a carnival. Well, stay at it. I'll check your progress tomorrow. Again, good day. And I thought this is what I wanted. I realize now that I'm not just cut out to work for anyone else. I got to do things my own way, without interference. And at a Midwestern sports arena, the Thing also realizes that being on his own isn't quite the ball he thought it would be. Hey, big brain, how long do I have to waltz this baboon around the ring? Until I tell you to stop. We gotta give the fans a show for our money. Hey, ugly, look at that blonde tootsie in the front row. After I'm through with you up here, I'm gonna go get a date with that doll. Va-va-voom. You crummy creep. That's Alicia. That's my girl you're talking about. I'll show you who's gonna date Alicia. Hey, stop. Cut it out. This ain't in the script. Help. If you still want to meet Alicia after you come back from my boomerang throw, then we'll talk it over. Zoom. Here he comes. Now to give him a nice warm reception. You can't do this to me. I demand a rematch. I glop. Come on, kid, we're going home. If that's what wrestling is, you can have it. Me, I'll stick to tiddlywinks. And so the colorful quartet, as though prearranged, signal all return to their home base, the bustling metropolis of New York at the same time. So long, Alicia. See you later. Boy, am I glad to see you all again. Even you, Ben. And as they reach the mighty Baxter building, I've got to admit it feels wonderful to be back in harness. If you ever hear me knock these uniforms again, just... Hey, look, what's happened to our headquarters? The whole building is turned into a gigantic crystal. But how? What does this mean? It's incredible. The very elements of the building themselves is being transmuted. This is a new unknown substance. I can't poke a hole through it. A thing like that can give a guy a complex. That means we're locked out of our own headquarters. It's heat resistant, too. I'll probe for cracks. Perhaps there's a weak spot somewhere. Phooey, that's too slow. Maybe I can just dig our way through. I'll be through this concrete sidewalk in no time. There's even more than this to meets the eye. Look at all the passers-by. No one seems to notice what's happened to the building. They don't even seem to see it. Suddenly, the face of the thinker appears, projected right through the strange, shimmering crystal wall. Naturally, no one notices. I have an electronic hypno-ray field around this entire building. I've been expecting you, for I am the thinker. The thinker? I have modified my hypno-ray, so that only you four are aware of my presence. For you are to be my greatest conquest. Once I have defeated the Fantastic Four, no power on earth can stand in my way. Good grief, another power med genius for us to contend with. True, but I have one advantage. I have the use of Mr. Fantastic's scientific research. Research which will now be turned against you. Look, he faded away, and he left an opening in the crystal for us to enter through. He means it. He wants us to get inside and fight him. He actually thinks he can beat us. Well, what are we waiting for? I'll just toss a speedy blue flame fireball in there to make sure there aren't any little traps waiting for us. Good thing you did that, Johnny. He had an explosive device rigged up. Well, it's not going to bother us anymore, so let's go and give that thinker something to really think about. Torchy, old pal, you're beginning to sound like me, and that's pretty good. You kidding? If I believed you, I'd never open my mouth again. Watch yourselves. No telling what little surprises the thinker has for us. Here they come, get 'em! Vibro guns, my own invention. The thinker must have found them in our arsenal. Take cover. Try to get out of range. The sound vibrations will sap all the strength from you until they run out of power. Oh, Reed, we can't let them beat us with your own weapons. Have no fear, baby. The thing is here. This'll stop those rays. He's pulling those walls together as though they're lace curtains. I don't want no part of him. Let me out of here. They can't get through steel, and that's just what these special walls are made out of. It's now 3:43 p.m. You have passed your first test, as I expected you would. But you still have to get to the 35th floor. Just sit tight, brother. We'll get there. You can bet on it. He didn't think we could stop us by shutting off the elevators, did he? Take it easy, Ben. That's my skin you're hanging on to. Complaints. All I ever get is complaints. Reed, the thinker has hurled some gas cylinders at us. It's no ordinary gas, Sue. I can tell by the odor. It's a formula of my own. Well, don't keep us in the dark, partner. What does it do? It created us to use against enemies, to defeat us with them without harming them. It affects your sense of balance and of vision. It makes everything look distorted for you. Yeah, I see what I mean. I see what you mean. Thing, I have an idea. Quick, while you still can, wind Reed's body up. Twist him around. Hurry. Great idea, Susie gal. I've been wanting to do this for a pretty long time. Or pretty boy for a long time. Faster, Ben, and tighter. That's it. I know what Sue's planning. It's the only thing that can save us. Now let go. Twang. It worked. The force of your spinning body dispelled all the gas. We've reached the 35th floor, and there's the thinker watching us through our own view screen. What's he cooking up now? Looking down on the long corridor, the Fantastic Four realize they will not have to wait long for their answer. For the love of Pete, what do you call that? Keep back, Ben. It seems to be alive, and yet it certainly isn't human. Hey, look at the size of it. And what kind of face has it got? It isn't a face. It's merely a central gathering place of motor nerves and impulses. It's a form of artificial life, created by the thinker from my own notes. It's less than human, and yet in some ways more than human. It's a living android. Wait, Johnny, don't attack it yet. Not till we know more about it. What do I have to worry from a big hunk like that? Suddenly, as the blazing torch flames towards it, the android spews forth a hurricane intensity blast of wind. Whoosh! Yow! It's like flying into a mouth of a tornado. It's blowing out my flame. Whoosh! Step aside, playmates. As usual, I can see it's up to little old me to take care of this oversized rag doll. Hey, now what's happening? I was afraid of that, Ben. The android has the power of mimicry built into you. It's turning into you. But it's still a bigger, stronger version of the thing. Duck, Ben, get away from it. What do you think I'm trying to do, mister? Thanks, Sue, for helping me pull him out of the way. Luckily, the android is slow moving. We've got a few seconds to think of some way to defeat it. All of you, stay back now. The thinker created him from my notes. In a way, he's my responsibility, and I'll find out a way to nullify his power. Reed, I can't let you face that creature alone. If anything should happen to you, if I can't stop you, Sue, then at least turn invisible. It may save your life. I'll try to keep him as immobile as long as I can. If I remember my notes correctly, his motor nerve terminal is on the right side, under his arm. You've got to press it, Sue. You mustn't miss. Can't hold much longer. You did it, Sue. Your sensitive touch knocked out the android. Lucky for us that Sue was here. My fingers are too blunt. You couldn't free yours long enough, and the android would have seen the torch and kicked them away. It is 1 minute to 4. I calculated that you would be here at this second if you defeated the android. So far, my deductions have been perfect. That character seems to think this is one big game he's playing. We got your men trapped behind a wall of steel downstairs, and now we're going to put the kibosh on you, too. Did you expect me to be unprepared for your flame? The chemical in this gun, which I took from Mr. Fantastic's cabinet, will douse your flame forever. You call yourself a thinker, huh? You're not so much. All your weapons or powers are stolen from Mr. Fantastic. Fool. Only someone as brilliant as I would have been able to outsmart your leader. Who do you think it was who arranged for all of you to leave New York? It was me. I arranged everything, down to the last detail. And now I'm arranging your finish. I have a separate antimatter shell zeroed in on each of you. Again, thanks to Mr. Fantastic, who invented this potent weapon. And so, at this second, exactly at the stroke of 4, just as I planned, the Fantastic Four will meet their... My gun! The shells! What has happened? Bzzz. Well, tell you all about it, laughing boy, after I mop up the place with you. Don't hurt him, Ben. He's powerless now. Quick, Johnny. Destroy those deadly cylinders. I was hoping you'd ask. How? How did you do it? How did you beat me? Write him a letter, Reed. I'm itching to clobber him. You overlooked one thing in your plans, thinker. There's always an X factor to prepare for. The unexpected. Not knowing what we'd find when we'd invaded our building, I contacted Mr. Lumpkin, our postman, and tell him to ring a special downstairs bell at exactly 4 o'clock. I had previously set up an electrical circuit breaker, which rendered all my equipment useless when that bell is rung, as a precaution against any enemy taking over my lab. Bah, you talk so much that I got over my anger. The X factor, the unexpected, the human element, the one thing I didn't count on. I sent for the police, Reed, and so, next time it will be different. I shall plan for the X factor too, and then nothing will foil me. What makes you think there'll be a next time, fella? Quite a homecoming, eh, Sue? Well, there's never a dull moment anyway. Now hear this, kiddies. It's exactly 4 minutes after 4, and the menace of the thinker is over. And we're all together again, as it should be. Wait till I get my fiddle, sis. I'll play hearts and flowers. For this, I gave up a career in showbiz. I had to get my head examined. The end. So there's a pin-up of Fantastic Four. It's really cool picture. I'm sincerely Ben, Reed, Sue, Johnny, I Stan, and Jack. So that's the end of this comic. Again, sorry my voice is really bad. I'm still kind of sick. But I hope you guys enjoy this video. If you could like, comment, or subscribe, that'd be appreciated. Thank you. And I'll see you guys later.